I have a problem. Recently, I spent over $1,000 on Sega CD and Saturn games. Why? I have a sickness, a disease. Too much wasted on old video games. I need to learn how to wisely invest and spend my money. I should ask those Wall Street guys. They know what to do with finances. I'm playing Wall Street Kid. An economically sound idea. Invest your time a bit with me? Wall Street Kid, developed and published by SOFEL in 1990. SOFEL sounds like a company that makes very comfortable pillows. I'm really digging the cover art here, which is done in a comic book art style. Use it or lose it. Hey, you want to see the size of my dividends? But I'm not a fan of Wall Street Kid's wardrobe. A gray suit with green sunglasses? Who would be caught dead wearing that? What? You expected me to be wearing that dumb getup? Come on, am I really that predictable? Here's the story. You're a member of the Benedict family, and Larry the lawyer has just told you that your filthy rich uncle has kicked the bucket. He's a little bit too happy to tell you that a family member died. And then he stroked out right at his nephew's birthday party and fell into the cake. You're given $500,000 to invest in the stock market in order to prove yourself. And if you do, you'll inherit $600 billion. That's an insane amount of money, especially in 1990, which would make it over $1 trillion in 2015. Wow, with that type of money, I could finally afford a halfway decent video game collection. Gameplay takes place in an office via a point-and-click interface. It amounts to a 40-hour work week spread over Monday through Friday. Ah, the excitement of playing a 9-to-5 office job on your NES! The player has to buy and sell stocks every day in order to earn enough money to impress Larry the lawyer by the end of the month by buying something expensive. The first month's goal is to turn the $500,000 into $1 million in order to afford a mansion for your girlfriend, Priscilla. So yeah, the plot so far is the same as the Three Stooges, except in that game your goal was to raise money to help kids in an orphanage. Here you're just a greedy capitalist trying to spoil your girlfriend. Why does this creepy bastard care about my girlfriend so much and how much I'm pampering her? Was he her sugar daddy at one point? The goal by the end of 3 months is to be able to buy the Benedict family castle in an auction. Why couldn't big rich Uncle Benedict just leave some of the $600 billion and instructions in his will for Larry here to purchase it? April Fools, you're playing a stock trading game! But Larry isn't the only weirdo here. There's a plethora of characters to make this economic extravaganza exciting. Of course, your girlfriend Priscilla the prima donna. Yeah, prima donna, that's her nickname. Come on, Wall Street Kid, you can do better! Right? Stanley the crafty consultant. Is he the same Stanley from the NES game? Ralph the regal realtor, who looks like Clark Kent. Art the artsy artist. And what's the odds he has that name? Ruth the ruthless banker. But it's not Ruth the baby Ruth eater or Ruth the Babe Ruth? Cal the cranky car dealer. He looks too calm. Doc the bogus boat salesman. He seems reputable. You think after he sold the second bogus boat that he'd never have another customer. Pamela the patient pet dealer. She probably just gassed poor Fido in the back of the store. Austin the astute auctioneer looks like a villain in a silent film tying a woman to railroad tracks. Julie the jolly jeweler looks like Julia Child. Ted the tough stereo man. You sure have to be tough to sell boomboxes. What a ridiculous cast of characters. Who else could they have? Son of a bitch. So back to this reverse Brewster's Millions game on our quest to join the evil 1% of society. Each day starts at 9 a.m. and you have several options you can click on, all of which take up time during the day. I can't imagine Gordon Gekko doing business in an office with green pastel walls and a pink clock. Ah, that's better. Clicking on the flower pot lets you select one of 3 activities to spend time with Priscilla, since you have to show affection to your honey bunny after all. For some reason, attempting to go to the carnival always gets rejected. That's the same excuse when I want you to ride me. Wait, what? Oh, but you enjoy shopping for 4 hours? My checkbook didn't. Hey, it was 1990. People still wrote checks. Clicking on the PDA lets you... What? That's not a PDA. According to the manual, it's a barometer. Who keeps a barometer on their desk? I wonder what the atmospheric pressure is right now. Oh, 31 inches of mercury and falling. Glad I had this barometer handy. So clicking on the barometer will enable you to exercise in one of 3 ways. For example, you can swim for 2 hours. Wait, 2 hours? Michael Phelps doesn't swim for that long. But you have to stay in shape for your health to keep the game going, and to look good for Priscilla, because it's not enough to make millions of dollars, you gotta stay cut. Aw, thanks, Bitsy Pookums. My apologies for not being hot enough while I make us filthy rich. So who else can you hang out with besides your adoring girlfriend? There's Stanley, who you can pay to tell you how the stock market works. Who buys a game about the stock market without knowing how it functions? That's like buying Double Dribble not knowing what basketball is, or Hot Slots without knowing how to work. Hot Slots. You can get a loan from Ruth the Bader Ginsburg. Come on, that's the only other Ruth name I know. Then there's my absolute favorite, Connie the Arrogant Advisor. She'll give you juicy stock tips about companies that may or may not be correct, but it's her sense of humor. It's so corny and punny. It's fantastic! Connie frickin' rules! I should be dating her, not that ice queen with no personality.
Why, you forgot me. I'm Ned, the news bear. I'll be reporting all the news that's fit to print. Say, did you hear about that St. Valentine's Day massacre?
So let's trade stocks! Click on the Macintosh to begin. Nothing. On your Mac, you have the option to view your current stock portfolio, view stock information like the trading history and the type of stock it is, and then of course you can buy and sell them. Stocks are bought and sold in thousands of shares, which I guess simplifies matters. The companies, for the most part, are parodies of real ones, like American Depress instead of Express, AT&T, Rattel Toys, and Yapple, who in this universe use child labor to make desktop barometers. No, I'm not letting that go. And then there's Bethlehem Steel, parodying Bethlehem Steel, once a proud steel refinery in Pennsylvania. During the Second World War, they contributed greatly to the effort by supplying steel and making ships. In 1995, the plant closed after 140 years, devastating the local economy. You know what's there now? A casino. Now that's American Depress. Well, I know a slot machine game they could use. Players are allowed to have 5 stock transactions at one time, not necessarily 5 different stocks, which means if you want to buy more of the same type of stock, you might as well sell all your current ones and then rebuy them all at once. So which stocks should you buy? Each morning, the Wall Street Times gives you a tip of what type of stocks are on the rise, as well as the hot stocks at the moment. It's a safe bet to stick with those and just buy more of what seems to be increasing at a greater percentage, while diversifying a little bit just to be safe. At the start of each new week, you'll receive a password that's harder to decipher than the Dead Sea Scrolls. And that's really the game. You just read the paper each morning, check your stock portfolio, make trades, watch the clock, and make sure you exercise and make time for your sweet peach every now and then. It's fairly boring overall, but there are flashes of storyline that occur, usually when your lovely calls you and wants something, like a pet dog or a car. This forces you to sell valuable stock investments the day before you have to go and buy her gift on that weekend. Of course, you cannot buy her anything, she doesn't deserve it, but that risks her leaving your cheap ass and ending the game. My life isn't hell at all.
A broad telling you to buy her an automobile, eh? You should buy her a kitchen apron, if you ask me.
Ned, don't you think that's a little bit chauvinistic?
Say, did you hear about this new medicine called penicillin?
There's not much else to the game experience. You wake up, read the newspapers, trade stocks day after day, week after week. Thank God you can speed up the game by clicking on the clock to advance to the next day without waiting. The monotony can only be broken up by visiting the awesome Connie, or reading the paper, which sometimes has interesting news, like some ramblings about giant cockroaches, or news about an upcoming game that references high stakes. Could they be referring to Casino Kid, another game put out by SOFEL? If only someone could review that. Or maybe they have, in Las Vegas, 4 years ago. So it's the end of month 1, and I managed to afford that mansion. That house is $1 million? Where? On the moon? It better have a solid gold barometer. And the spending continues. Now she wants TV and stereo sets? I might as well pick up a CDI while I'm here too. It's the wave of the future. What's next? Shopping at Bed Bath & Beyond? Towels? I love towels! The end of the second month requires a player to buy a yacht for your honeymoon with Priscilla, because creepy Larry wants to know where you'll be banging her right after the wedding. For month 3, Larry tells me that I need to win the Benedict castle in an auction. Larry cares about my wife more than I do. More spending. A party? What? No! 10 grand? And that's the cheap option? This is ridiculous! What are we drinking? Little Samson smoothies? You're bleeding me dry! I need to make lots of money. Have to buy stuff for my ungrateful honey. Buying low, selling high, hoping that a big fortune is nearby. Lost my cash, what a blow. Think I'll jump out that window. Is this what my life's become? Just buying whatever my wife wants me to and putting me into debt?
I know what you should buy her. A cold stick she can put on that black guy you give her after you show that dame who's boss.
Ned, domestic violence is not cool. You're gonna get me into trouble.
Did you hear about Trotsky being kicked out of the USSR? Not much really happened in 1929.
When it's finally time for the castle auction, you start off the bidding war, and then bid against yourself again and again. This is the worst shill bidding ever. The seller's the one who's supposed to bid against themselves by making fake accounts and driving up the price. I guess eBay didn't exist back then, so they had no idea how to do it. If you can last that third month and pay off the balance on the castle, it's yours, proving yourself to be a worthy Benedict, and the game ends. But this money management experience is so mundane that I doubt you'll even want to bother to play even half that long. I'm not sure I learned much about stocks and investing by playing Wall Street Kid, but it did teach me one thing. I should never get married, because it costs a ton of money! Hello? Oh, AJ, just the man I wanted to speak to. I need to make a ton of money, and fast! What if I get a girlfriend? It's possible! Sell my video games? Are you nuts?
Sunglasses. 7-Up. Influenza. Now, I'm not saying she's a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke.
So tough to do a serious video game review nowadays.